Hello, this is Nancy reporting on her 2009 Samoa trip. My parents and I arrived at Samoa's International Airport early morning around 5, and of course the rain and wind gave me a cheeky greeting under my dress as I made my way down the boarding ladder. Same old airport, warm and humid, and only 2 passport lines. We were very fortunate to have Auntie Lucy's Western-style home that gave us the convenience of indoor plumbing and air condition. It was built by her son Fred on a piece of land divided by the courts. There's a bit of bad history that comes with the Tulaʻili property. BTW, I'm talking like this because I can articulate the words better, so there. Our first order of business was to take Mum to the dentist to get something glued back together. For only $20 American, she got her tooth back. Meanwhile, Daddy, Lico, and myself went to visit the Robert Louis Stevenson Museum just up the hill. You know, the guy who wrote Treasure Island. His Redwood estate was a South Pacific respite. To stay in a home like this, I wondered why these types of homes were not common. Daily living snapshots captured simplicity, frugality, cleanliness, and relaxation. I was able to catch the elusive tour guide, a very handsome one at that, with a very strange, out-of-place name, Nitro, like the Gladiator. Anyways, we picked up Mum, then toured some properties up in the mountain. The season was just ending for vinecas, or starfruits. I've never had one of those, and I asked Uncle, "How do you eat these?" He searched the bag and picked a yellow ripe one and passed it to me, saying in his excited voice, "I'll show you." And he picked one for himself and said, "You eat it like this," and dove into it with a grunt, juices splashing everywhere. Oh, so I looked at my piece and attacked it, juices splashing everywhere. Quite delicious. Next day, we were off to Savai'i, loading the van onto the boat that would ferry us over. The weather still rainy and the sea rough that Dad and me were just sick. We had picked up Fuyono before we left, the girl you'll see photographed with me, and she was quite the story, let's just say. What else would a 21-year-old single girl be doing? Which is another liberating activity. There are no clubs or anything of that sort on Savai'i, just a dark, lonely road, so you might think. So when I drove at night, there are all the males out on the road, naturally healthy in their lava-lavas. Animals, vegetation, and the sea. I'm fascinated with the relationship Samoans have with animals. About 10 years ago, I remember going to church, and the dog would saunter into the chapel and sit under one of the pews. No one batted an eyelash. I think the dogs have a keen sense of common sense. They are everywhere, and Ramona tells me of a veterinary assistant's mission to neuter all the male dogs in her village. I suppose it helps fight the image of those poor, starving dogs on the road. It's just very different these days, with everyone buying processed foods from the store and not living off the land. Makes it harder for the domestic animals. It's cause and effects. Auntie Tali buys the big frozen boxes of chicken, imported from New Zealand, Australia, and US. This is just weird, and soon these people will lose the skill of natural survival and health. You'll notice your kids are looking a little plump, perhaps from all the processed foods they've been eating. Too bad. There's a very kind pig that hangs around Tali's house. You also see the foot with the jandal that soon flies off the foot to the pig's head. What a cruel thing. Did you know in almost every village there is a Mormon church? It has totally dominated the island. A little studio apartment is also built on every church property for the missionaries to settle in. I was told it was too much of a hassle when they housed with families. What a nice deal. Snails. Years ago, the Taro plantation was attacked by these foreign African snails. They're big suckers. We stayed at the Vaisala Hotel, a relief in the peaceful enjoyment of the sea breeze and quiet. We came at a great time. We were practically the only boarders there, and Mom and Dad had a security dog who parked himself every evening on their doormat. We detoxified ourselves while in Savai'i with a continental breakfast of papaya, banana, avocado, orange toast, and cocoa. I must say, I've never had cocoa so fresh before. What a lovely treat. So off we go sightseeing in Savai'i, the great Moso's footprint, who crossed the ocean to other islands. One footprint can be seen here in Falealupo, and the other is found in Fiji. A clever missionary told us that during this walk, he had a little accident that fell from him, and we all recognized that as the island of Tonga. I thought it a very crude joke, but there it is. We saw the remnants of a hurricane devastation in Upolu. No one really lives there. No one has rebuilt the ruins of the church since this 1990 devastation. As Dad took his exploratory walk, he reminisced the days of lush beaches filled with delicious critters and corals, which now lay barren, and the land crabs are not so plenty anymore. I saw a plastic bag of coral rocks lying there as if caught in the act of pilfering. I barely noticed a tiny crab-like creature climbing the base of the palm tree. It was a sad place. We come to Lover's Leap with the story of an old lady who was offended and jumped off the cliff with her daughter. Before hitting the water, the old lady turned into a turtle and the daughter into a shark. I'd be mad too if Mom told me to jump off a cliff. So the natives say they often see the shark and turtle way down there. Scary drop. It was about at this time that I received an email from my cousin Maylene in New Zealand. Both Mum and Dad would stop in New Zealand for Oliva's birthday, and I hadn't heard from Maylene about her contact information. She was expecting any day now, and I was very sad to find out that she had lost her baby. I could not find the right words of comfort, only to say how sorry I was. It's amazing how technology brings us to the same level. Samoa at this moment is cell phone crazy, neighbors calling each other instead of face-to-face contact. Internet is there, but on dial-up. Pretty soon Samoa will be flat like the rest of the world. And so we saw this and that. Perhaps you noticed the orbs I caught on film, ghosts in those caves, maybe. Did you know that every place you stop to see the sights you have to pay? That's because it's private land and everyone keeps their area so clean, otherwise they'd be fined. I did swim with the turtles, and Uncle Liko told me that there are still those who eat turtles, and he dislikes the way they kill them. Inhumane is how he described it. Flip the turtle on its back and slit the sides of its throat since it tucks itself in, or throw it on the coals on its back and listen to it scream. OMG. Villages make fun of other villages and call the people of Neafu Elo, in other words, stinky, because we have no running water. Yes, you Burgesses should all know you came from Neafu. However, we are the only village who can claim the origin of the warrior goddess Nafanua. On the other hand, little do they know, there is a natural water outlet that the locals keep quiet about to prevent outsiders from tapping the source. I don't know if this is good or bad, but I think it would be nice to have running water in the house. And so we hiked through the forest, 10 minutes until the forest spit us out directly onto the Vangalo beach. Unfortunately, the tide was in and we were unable to enjoy the freshwater pool and instead exfoliated ourselves as the rough water slapped us to and fro, rolling us through the sand. Dad was brave enough to walk in with his koko and almost lost his shorts when trying to escape back onto the beach. He thought I didn't see that, but I was laughing behind the rock. All in all, we enjoyed Samoa, and no one was seriously ill. Mom caught some kind of cold, but I suspect it was the talk too much on the cell phone sickness. As for the mermaid, after experiencing the land, she thought the sea was much better, and so she returned. I'd like to take this time to thank my very fun and hard-working Uncle Liko, Auntie Oma, Auntie Waimaila, and Cousin Ramona for their hospitality and companionship, thus making this trip enjoyable, bearable, and without regret. Until next time, fa soifua.